Ever wake up from this, crazy vivid dream, but it's already, fading, and you're just left with this feeling of, what was that all about? Like those fleeting images, those flashes, they feel important, right? Like whispers from somewhere deep inside. So what if we could actually tap into those messages? That's what we're diving into today. Dream tracking, this whole journey of unlocking the secrets of, our own minds.
It is remarkable how much those nighttime, those journeys really stay with us, even when they seem like, just these quick glimpses.
Yeah, absolutely. And to help us unpack all this, we have insights from Kyle Goodnight. He's a paramedic, actually, and a podcaster.
Interesting combination.
Right. And our expert with, get this, 40 years of experience working with dreams, Bambi. Now, I think it's so interesting that Kyle's a paramedic, right? If you talk about intense experiences, you got to think that leads to some pretty wild dreams.
Absolutely. He brings a really unique perspective to this, especially when the conversation turns to, nightmares and the impact of trauma.
Totally. And that's actually one of the first things he asks Bambi about. Like, straight off the bat, he's curious about nightmares, especially those stemming from his work as a paramedic. Now, Bambi's quick to clarify that she doesn't specialize in, clinical trauma or anything, but she does say something super interesting about nightmares in general. She says they're often like these exaggerated messages from our subconscious.
It's like our mind is turning up the volume.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's trying to get our attention, It's almost like an alarm bell going off.
Right. It's not that the fear or anxiety in the nightmare isn't real, but it's often amplified to really drive a point home.
And to illustrate this whole idea, she tells this amazing story about the Sonoy tribe in Malaysia.
Oh, I love their perspective on dreams.
Right. So they actually view dreams as guides, which is already fascinating. But get this. They used to train their children to actually befriend the figures in their nightmares.
Imagine that. What a completely different way of approaching something that often causes fear.
Right. Talk about a shift in perspective. Makes you wonder about, all the different ways people have interpreted dreams throughout history.
Yeah.
But back to Kyle's experience, he talks about this really vivid childhood memory that actually got triggered by a recent dream.
It's incredible how dreams can pull from, these deep wells of past experiences, isn't it?
It really is. It's like our dreams have access to this whole library of memories that we might not even consciously think about anymore.
And it's not just random memories resurfacing, right? They often carry significance, connecting to our current emotions, anxieties, desires, all of that.
Right. There's usually a reason those specific memories are popping up. And Bambi has this term for these recurring themes or symbols that we see in our dreams. She calls them memory markers.
And understanding those markers, even the ones that seem totally mundane or insignificant, well, that's where the real insight lies.
So it's not always about the big dramatic stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's about paying attention to the patterns, the things that keep coming up.
Exactly. Those recurring themes, they often hold the key to unlocking deeper understanding of ourselves.
So let's get into a specific dream that Kyle shares. He tells Bambi about this dream where he's in a truck with his lieutenant, and suddenly the lieutenant veers off-road and can't seem to steer back.
Okay, I'm hooked already. What does that make Kyle think of?
Well, he immediately connects it to his job.
Mhm.
See, his lieutenant is actually about to have surgery, and Kyle's kind of worried about, having to take on more responsibility, maybe even his lieutenant's role while he's gone. So naturally, his mind goes there.
Makes sense. I mean, given his profession, that's a pretty understandable interpretation.
Right. But then Bambi, she offers this really interesting alternative perspective. She asks Kyle if he's been feeling like he's on a path less traveled in his own life. She points out how his podcast, which is, gaining traction, that's kind of like betting off-road too, venturing into new territory.
It's amazing how dream symbols can have these multiple layers of meaning, right? Like what seems obvious on the surface might point to something totally different underneath.
Totally. It's like she's encouraging him to dig a little deeper and ask himself, okay, what resonates with me in this scenario? Where am I going off-road in my own life?
It's not just about the literal interpretation, but the emotional connection to the symbol, too.
Exactly. And speaking of emotions, Bambi really emphasizes how important it is to pay attention to how we feel in our dreams. Are we scared, excited, confused? Those emotions can really unlock even more layers of meaning, don't you think?
Absolutely. Our feelings are often our most direct connection to our subconscious mind.
So instead of getting stuck on the truck, literally going off-road, she's pushing Kyle to consider, the bigger picture. What does that symbolize for him? And it turns out this really resonates with Kyle.
Oh, how so?
Well, he has been feeling this pull toward his podcasting. He even admits he's thought about leaving his job as a paramedic to, pursue it full time.
Wow, now that's what I call taking the road less traveled.
Right. Talk about a major life change. It's like Bambi's interpretation really sparked something in him. But now, for the practical stuff. Because I know what you might be thinking. You're probably thinking, my dreams disappear the second my alarm goes off. How am I supposed to track them?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, we've all been there, right? Those dreams just vanish like smoke.
Exactly. But here's the good news. Bambi says anyone can improve their dream recall. It's not some mystical gift. She's got some really simple yet powerful techniques.
I'm all ears.
It's true.
Yeah.
And it's really not as hard as it seems. So tip number 1, she calls it intention setting. Basically, keep a journal right by your bed and, as you're falling asleep, just repeat this phrase to yourself, I will remember my dreams.
Seriously, it's that easy.
Right. It sounds almost too simple, but hey, if it works.
It's that power of suggestion, right? We might not even realize how much our subconscious is listening, even when we're drifting off.
It's like you're planting a little seed in your mind,
Yeah.
This idea that those dreams, they're worth paying attention to. And speaking of getting your mind ready, Bambi's second tip is all about sparking your curiosity.
Okay, I like this one. So it's like prime the pump, right?
Exactly. Immerse yourself in the world of dreams.
Read everything you can get your hands on.
Exactly. Listen to podcasts like this one.
Or even just watch a documentary about dreams.
Right. Just surround yourself with a topic, and it's almost like you're sending your brain a message like, get ready, we're going on a little adventure tonight.
I love that. So we've set the intention, we've got our curiosity going. What about when we actually wake up? How do we capture those dreams before they vanish?
Okay, so here's where the rubber meets the road, right? Bambi's really big on this whole idea of capturing the details. As soon as you wake up, jot down whatever you can remember, even if it's just these little snippets.
Yeah, because those first few moments are critical. That's when those images and emotions are still fresh.
Exactly. And don't worry about writing some elaborate story.
The little points are your best friend, right?
Totally. Just get those key details down, the emotions, anything that really jumps out at you. Oh, and here's a pro tip, straight from Bambi. Write those dreams down in the present tense.
Interesting. I've never thought about that. How come?
So she says when you write in the present tense, it kind of makes the whole dream feel more immediate,
Oh, I get it. Like you're reliving it as you write.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that heightened sense of immediacy, it can actually help you unlock even deeper insights and connections. At least that's what she's found.
Huh. Fascinating stuff. Okay, now for the big debate. Handwriting versus voice notes. Let's be real. Our phones are practically glued to us 24/7 these days. Is one really better than the other?
Right. I mean, I know I'm always reaching for my phone to jot things down.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because Bambi and Kyle, actually, they have kind of differing views on this. So Kyle, he's all about efficiency, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense with his paramedic schedule. He's like, give me those voice notes. Got to capture those dream fragments fast.
Gotta love the practicality. But where does Bambi land on this?
Okay, so she totally gets the whole busyness of modern life.
Yeah.
But she's a huge advocate for the power of, actually putting pen to paper.
Interesting. I can see both sides. What's her reasoning there?
Well, she says that the physical act of writing, it just activates our brains differently, So it leads to deeper processing and a lot of times even unexpected recall.
Right. It's like that hand-brain connection. It just unlocks something.
It's funny how something so analog in our digital world can still have that kind of impact. I'm definitely feeling inspired to dust off an actual notebook tonight.
Me too. See if it makes a difference.
Yeah.
It really makes you realize how much we still don't know about our own brains, right? Absolutely. There's a whole universe ticking away in those minds of ours.
So much we're just starting to understand.
Exactly. And you know what else is interesting about this whole dream tracking thing?
What's that?
It's not just about analyzing the dreams themselves, right? It's about what happens afterward. How do those dreams make us feel when we're awake? Do they spark any new ideas or insights?
Oh, that's a really good point. It's how does that dream world, how does it actually bleed into our waking life?
Exactly. It's all connected, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
This has been seriously eye-opening, makes you realize there's this whole other world going on inside our minds every single night.
And most of the time, we're just totally missing it, right?
It's true. But hey, maybe not anymore, right? After this, we can be like dream detectives.
Exactly. Grab your notebooks, set those intentions, and let's see what those dreams are trying to tell us.
I love it.
Okay.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into dream tracking. Hopefully you're feeling as inspired as I am to actually start paying attention to those nighttime adventures.
Me too. It's a journey worth taking, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So next time you wake up from a dream, don't just roll over and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Grab that journal, jot down those details, even if they seem like totally random or weird.
Because you never know, that weird random detail, that might be the key that unlocks a whole new understanding of yourself.
It's true. All right, until next time, happy dreaming, everybody.